I mean, I don't even know how actionized it is, if you want to put it like that. There already is backlash. I don't really know about that. Well, sounds about right. You know, I just read that apparently people are disappointed with the way that some summons, such as Shiva, looks. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I mean, Carbuncle, let's be honest, looks just fucking horrible. It's not even in the original game. And, I mean, I don't like those aesthetics at all. And I've seen Shiva, and I must say I also don't like her aesthetics. It's just, I would like them to become more minimalist again. It's just too much, it looks, I don't know. Aesthetically, they're like going a strange Baroque edition. I don't like that. FF7 has a lot of minimalist charm that they are not really going for, I think. I mean, you might argue that the charm of this game was just from almost like accidental minimalism because they couldn't afford enough space on like the discs to make something more elaborate, but I would say that the minimalism in like visuals can also be a very good choice. Well, what did he do with Kingdom Hearts 3? I never played a Kingdom Hearts game, by the way. I don't really care about Kingdom Hearts, so just assume I know nothing about Kingdom Hearts. But to be honest, I don't like Kingdom Hearts, partly because to me combining Square and Disney is not a good choice. I'm not into Disney at all. It started off interesting, but then they changed a lot of the interesting parts of the story in later titles. In the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 they added Final Fantasy Versus 13 stuff. What kind of DLC do they have for Kingdom Hearts 3 anyway? That doesn't sound like a good thing in the first place. I see. Interesting. No, enemies, I mean, minigames are not randomized at all. Neither this one nor, for example, the Fort Conda minigame. I guess it's just because of how minigames are programmed almost like FMVs, I suppose. And you probably cannot randomize or just modify them so easily. Is Cloud just vomiting? I think he is. Oh look, and Barrett, I mean Sid is doing, I didn't know he was into ballet. It's interesting. Hey Zolvin, how are you? Even if FF7 lets you down? Even if FF7 lets you down? When did the Resident Evil 3 remake come out, by the way? Was that also only very recently? Because I've seen people stream that recently. Oh, about 2 weeks ago, I see. You know, I played Resident Evil 3 as a child, but not very much. I think I never finished the game. you just realize that everyone's named Sephiroth? Yes, that might indeed be the case. Resident Evil 3 is short. I see the backdrifter. How do I feel after the spoilers? I feel just about as hungry as I was before I read them. Or do you mean how I feel about them after I read them? I feel pretty much the same, because I wasn't really expecting anything. You might go make brunch. Are you even allowed to make brunch? Isn't brunch something that not everyone can do? I mean, are you just using the word brunch to literally just refer to the meal, kind of like mixture between lunch and breakfast? Or is there more to brunch? You were looking for the image of someone being in a Cloud cosplay? I mean, I don't really like those images anymore, or I think I've never liked them. It's not like they look terrible, but it's kind of spooky. There is pictures on the internet of people being in cosplay and stuff. Like, unintentionally. You know, I am using words so that if this ends up on like an archive, it becomes more mysterious. I implore everyone to not, because that's very spooky. And you might not be prepared for it. Just telling you, it's not something that you can undo if you do not like what you find. It's almost as if it were a spoiler, only more possibly damaging. You know, these days I see these pictures, I can like only critique certain pictures' appeal and the cosplayer's appearance. I think that certain cosplayers look surprisingly fitting, but that's also not always a good thing, is it? Hey Psychotras, how are you? Atomic scissors, that's cool. I mean, have you done cosplay yourself? It's not like I have done it. I see. Is that also a spoiler? Many. I see. Well, I'll keep that in mind. Also, I'm not quite sure how I should understand the way you use the term hipster. Because, you know, personally, I think hipster is kind of a positive association, like visually at least. I mean, like, on a demeanor level, maybe hipster is a bit problematic, but visually, exclusively, hipsters are kind of appealing, I would say. I think we might have different opinions or a different understanding of what it means to be hipster. Wearing sunglasses indoors is not really hipster, that's just kind of... that's just questionable, that's just... I mean, if you wear sunglasses indoors, you're probably just blind, not a hipster. It's more of a medical condition really than an emotional one. your friend's mom had a stroke and has to wear sunglasses because her eyes are sensitive to light. I should Google someone and tell you that someone is not looking like a hipster, not posing like a hipster. I mean, I suppose that someone was probably posing like a hipster a long time ago. Actually, you're right. It's interesting that you noticed that Dalekson, because that's literally what his weapon's damage formula is. It's actually exactly the conformer. Oh. Interesting. How did this helicopter even fit on this small landing? I guess you can tell because I'm using morph, and the damage from morph is apparently not even reduced. But it seems that he is immune to whatever elements he's attacking with. I do not have an Instagram. At least not one related to my Twitch channel. So I'm not sure who you're talking about. Those are two extremely different things, by the way. I mean, how can you not know that? Well, I these days pretty much use neither either, but I've used both, and they are both entertaining at times, but also not really that great. You know, people still occasionally send me stuff on Snapchat. And then I never do know what to do about that. Like how to... Am I supposed to like send something back or like respond to them in text? It's just... I don't know. I have not gotten any... Wait, actually I think I've gotten like one nude. But there was like a confused nude, I think. Also, this is a very nice door. Oh my god, there's a chocobo carriage in this screen. It's amazing. Also, this is where you can still hear Palma. It seems like he didn't die. I mean, how many nudes have you gotten on... I mean, do you use Instagram? Because it seems like you do not use Snapchat, so I wonder, like, what your nude farm is. You have gotten far too many nudes. I don't understand the appeal of nudes. I mean, if you want to look at pictures, you can just go to like a website designed for that and find pictures. I guess there's some sort of element that, you know, it's not just some sort of random anonymous person, but like someone you might know, and that makes it more appealing, I guess. You know, I think OCT that is not really related or restricted, limited to only one gender. I think that psychological process works independent of gender, even though liking might be used kind of vaguely there. Is it weird in 2020 to say that you're not on any social media? No, that's not weird. I mean, most social media is kind of questionable, and some people use social media because they have to for work, because they are like online hookers, so you know, that's their workplace. But if you're not, it's perfectly fine. Also, it's perfectly fine to use social media. I mean, there's also nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with being a social online hooker, just saying. But it's not what everyone is. I mean, I used Instagram ask for something and then you get it, then you should not complain about that. But if you get something and you didn't even ask for it, then you might have a reason to complain. It's also funny how everyone is floating in space right now, and I mean, this almost like looks like it could make sense in the game. There's like carry armor just exploded, and there was some dead fish lying around, some items exploded, and now Aru's mother Ifalna is just floating through space. I mean, this doesn't even look that weird. And hey, Sapunama and gang. Oh, it's the cage. You know, I'm getting this bald NPC model guy quite often. He seems quite boring. You know, maybe complaining is just something that some people do more than others. Maybe that's the actual difference, not so much the reception of certain visual things. I see. So in case it just came, this is a FFVII randomizer, and what is randomized most notably is models on fields on screens. As you can see, this game looks a bit spooky now. Other things that are randomized are my entire equipment, so accessories, weapons, armor, materia, what they do, where you find them, how much MP they cost, what the equipment does, who can equip it. All of that is random. And also enemies are to some extent random. Yeah, I wonder what my favorite part of this playthrough would be so far. I mean, it's probably a toss-up between throwing Tifa down the stairs in the church in Sector 5, or maybe the double stalactite dropping to death of the chocobo carriage in Gaia's Cliff, or maybe, I mean, usually it involves some kind of Tifa, maybe also Wet 13's father, Seto, crying tears of Tifa in the shape of Tifa. Or maybe the entire ancient forest section in which I throw NPCs into Venus flytraps and sacrifice them so that I can move on. How do I even, like, I don't like this model because it's kind of difficult to even know where I am. Yeah, maybe Jenova has succeeded in her quest for destruction and confusion. You might have a point there. Oh yeah, and most importantly, I also randomized the color of the world map's sky. As one can see quite clearly right now, I think. Even though this looks almost a bit too violently pink. Yeah, I need to put this entire playthrough and the previous one on YouTube. Apparently people, at least that's what people keep telling me, some people seem to watch these things on YouTube even. I don't really know why, but should probably do that at some point. mean, the titles are actually quite descriptive. They give you a quite good idea of what you're about to see, really. How does one even, you know, also, first of all, since when are channel points a thing? Because I also watch some people on Twitch, you know, myself. I am not only streaming, but I'm also like watching people. And in their channels, I have like at most 1,000 or so. How hard is it to get lots of channel points? So can you tell me a bit more about this VIP status? What is VIP status and what does it even mean? Well, I think if you are, for example, not a subscriber, you can use your channel points to use emotes that you only get as a subscriber, like for one-time use. Or you can, if you have like certain, like there was this Twitch sub mode in which only subscribers and moderators can type messages. you know, I have probably never used that, but bigger streams, or for example, AGDQ seems to at this point be in in permanent subscriber mode. So you'd be able to type if you're not a subscriber during subscriber mode. Did I get anything spooky today? Nothing too spooky. Actually, that's wrong. I'm probably just forgetting about something. I mean, I always get something spooky. It's just that at some point you get used to the spookiness, and it has to really stand out in its sheer spookiness for me to still remember the spookiness. I mean, nothing completely whack shit happened today, I guess you could say. But I'm sure that lots of spooky things happened. I mean, I'm not sure if I would call that spooky. Sailor Barrett is... I mean, it looks interesting. Spooky is such a strong term. Okay. Oh my god. Can you fucking believe it? There is Mr. Dolphin. This is Mr. Dolphin. And this is Reno. This is just... Oh, and I haven't actually been yet to the sunken Gelnica. I should probably go there at some point. Why is that screen on the high end always default models? I think because if it were not, it would probably crash the game here. I assume that Sega Chief probably had someone... I mean, this mod is out, has been out for like 3 or 4 months, and probably someone played this before me and encountered maybe some glitches, and they were reported, so Sega Chief might just have blacklisted that screen from being randomized. Also, what is this? This is some sort of seafood crane game now. There is that even a shark or a dolphin? Last time someone told me it's a shark, but it kind of looks more like a... I mean, what even is the difference between a shark and a dolphin anyway? One has teeth and the other doesn't. Dolphins have teeth as well, and sharks have, obviously, because how else are they supposed to chew up all these servers in Australia. So both sharks and dolphins have teeth. Yeah, I mean, apparently dolphins also rape not only other dolphins, but also humans. I mean, there is literally a King of the Hill episode in which Hank is molested by a dolphin. So there must be something to it, I suppose. That is not as bad as killing after breathing. Are you talking about certain types of spiders, like black widows? Of course she can reappear as a model, because I mean, I assume you mean if she can be seen like on a screen as a model. To which the answer is yes, of course, because the game doesn't care if Aerith is dead. Like, in terms of just, I mean, everything is randomized, so, you know. I have seen Aerith, like, a lot of times, actually, after her death. Yeah, Aerith has been in weird positions, but then again, so have most characters. I mean, if Aerith were giving birth to someone or something, what would she be giving birth to? A demon? Probably. I mean, people usually think of Aerith as some sort of innocent, pure, pristine little girl, but I would probably not agree with that narrative. I mean, she doesn't seem any of those things to me. I mean, I think her character is much more sinister, and I mean that on a not even entirely ironic way. I mean, she lives in the slums, and everyone in the slums lives like literally in a ghetto, in like tin box houses. But Aerith lives in like a mansion with, you know, a backyard and a waterfall. How come she can afford this? That is a strange, long story. Yeah, I mean, if Aerith were such a good, hearted, kind spirit, then wouldn't she care more about people in the slums? I mean, she doesn't have an orphanage, does she? It's... She's probably a psychopath who only cares about the way her waterfall looks, and who's willing to sell flowers to everyone, no matter how much they might suffer. If she sells them flowers that they are allergic to, or that their cats eat and then die. I mean, Juffy, on the other hand, is... I mean, of course she steals your materia, she tricks you, and she, like, puts you in a cage, but she does so in a friendly, inviting, jovial way. I mean, I would still rate Juffy much higher on kindness than Aerith. She's actually 16 in this game, Juffy. It's unclear. Well, I think it's not unclear. I think Aerith is like 20. Yeah, Aerith. I mean, Juffy is just looking for a strong, I don't know, mother/father figure, because her real parents are garbage. I mean, it's a sign of affection, really. This is looking like an interesting porn party. This almost looks like a rainbow now. There's the blue of the ocean, the green and red of the sky. Yeah, also Diamond Weapons world map model does look like it might benefit from a bit of more detail. Why is there a vampire in my party now? I mean, it's the guy who works at the Gold Saucer Ghost Hotel. Who put him in charge? What happens if he reaches Midgar? He cannot actually reach Midgar. He will at some point just become static in front of Midgar. He'll just keep staying there until you run into him. I mean, I could show that to you. You can change how fast he walks by modifying world map data. You cannot just change it in the game. You have to like hack into the game to modify that. But yes, of course you can. You can also crash into him. Also, for some reason, the underwater world in FF7 is just one of the spookiest places in this entire game to me. I mean, I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just because there was Emerald Weapon, who you fight down here, and everything is so dark and blue and black. But I mean, even when I still play this today, I feel like a bit uneasy about this whole thing. I mean, this to me is just more or less the personification of all that is spooky. Okay. This is weird. Yeah, another time that I should disable this, it seems. Well, to be fair, everything on the world map is not randomized. Yeah, I broke it again. Except for the colors of the sky, which make some things not work as intended. You know, apparently, I think I know why this happens. So I'm using a tool to edit the world map data. You know, FF7 is made out of the PC version at least. Has like various parts to it, like different types of files. And there's one file that like controls the world map and everything on it. And only recently was a tool released that allows you to modify that. Now, unfortunately, because it's still such a new tool, it doesn't really work that well. So, occasionally things, if you use the tool and if you modify stuff on a world map, occasionally things just break. I mean, Sega Chief isn't some sort of randomizer Santa Claus. You cannot just bring you everything you ask for OCT. You know, actually I think that most town models on the world map are not even actual models. They are literally part of the world map, so you would have to like modify like the actual physical structure of the world map. I mean, I can randomize screen transition myself. I mean, that's not difficult actually, Saturn. You can do so, but it would probably, because you know, F7 is not Ocarina of Time. If you randomize screen transitions, you'll probably just get stuck and you can't continue the game. I mean, FF7 isn't the kind of wrong-warping glitch fest that some other games are. You just probably wouldn't be able to like continue if you just randomize everything. I am feeling very spooked right now. Please don't put gondolas in this screen. What is the point of this randomizer? Just to have fun, you know? There is no point besides that, I would say. Also, what the fuck? I can... Wait a second, I can link you, the link to the randomizer, so you can read about it, as well as download if you want to. It seems like an inefficient time of one's own time. I mean, an inefficient use of one's own time. Well, I mean, you can say that about video gaming in general. It's... I don't know what you're expecting, really. I mean, you can say that about just about anything in life, that it's an inefficient use of one's own time. Maybe you shouldn't spend so much time on eating, it's also kind of inefficient. I mean... What if the truth is... Oh, I got full cure. Interesting, but I think it sucks. What is randomized? What is randomized? 1 second. So first of all, models on screens that are not the world map are randomized. So you can see I'm currently controlling Tifa, and there's a gondola. This is all not the way it normally is, right? So that's all randomized. Then of course look at these enemies. Normally you only fight one of them, so that's also an element of randomization. And look at my Hades summon. It's actually Hades, but it has a different animation now. And it deals like different amounts of damage. So my stuff is randomized, my materia, my equipment, what it does, where I get it, what enemies do. That's pretty much it. And also my character's stats, like the stats they have when they start the game. What stuff what materia, what equipment, what armor they come with. Some video games provide useful lessons. Yeah, but I don't know about that. That seems like a fairly niche thing. The enemy stats are not randomized, they're just higher, because you could also randomize them, but I felt that would be... I mean, I want to have more of a challenge, not less of a challenge. So I specifically configured it so that they only go higher, not lower. The randomizer only works for the PC version at this point, yes. Actually, I think you can randomize the PlayStation version as well, but you cannot use all the you cannot randomize as much as you can on PC. So you can probably try it out on PlayStation as well, like for a PlayStation version. You just cannot randomize all the same that you can randomize on PC. You have interesting notions of what it means to be a great nation, Dankatron. I mean, who are you to philosophize on great nations? Yes, I have like a look. I can look up, you know, like what changes there are. So that's quite useful. I have like a whole folder of FF7 modifying tools that I use to look up certain game data files and, you know, what has happened and changed, etc. Yeah, I mean, if you have the randomizer, then you would have to use these tools. You can download them from the same website, from Quim. You should probably, if you want to look up these things, there is a tool called Wall Market, and there's a tool called ProudClot. ProudClot is used to look into enemy data, like what enemy stats are changed in their AI and stuff. And Wall Market is a tool that you use to look into equipment, etc. Ochu is more like a trainer. Ochu is a different tool. Like it tracks enemy HP and what field you're on, and you can use it teleports, but you cannot use it to look into like what pieces of equipment do and what enemies' weaknesses are, etc. That Ultra can't do that. That sounds very philosophical, Dankatron. I mean, that's probably true, but what is the point? I mean, I'm not feeling like I don't mind you saying these things. I'm just not sure if I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. Also, I need to get myself some more drinks, so I'll be back in a few minutes. You weren't there for the washing machine story set-in. So yesterday somebody asked if I could sing them a song, and then I realized that singing is too much of an emotional commitment. So I just decided to set them on an equally uplifting journey by making up a story on the spot using my amazing storytelling skills. And that story was called The Sad Washing Machine. I started streaming again at some point last week. You know, due to the amazing fun that coronavirus has allowed me to enjoy. You want to hear the sad washing machine story again? I mean, the issue is that my memory is not perfect, so if I try to retell the story, I'd probably leave out some important details, and it wouldn't be quite the same. You know, it would be like if I were Thomas Jefferson, trying to like tell you again about what moments are. It just doesn't work that way, I'm afraid. I would have to make like a new story. You need a coffee. What do you need a coffee for? Just need a mate to put it in. I mean, what do you even mean when you're talking about a mate? Because, you know, where I live, apparently lots of people have like a woman who comes to their house like once a week, who like does some sort of maid things, but she only like cleans your sofas and that sort of stuff. I'm not sure if that would be a maid. I mean, I do not have a maid, so I'm not speaking from experience. But, you know, people who have maids have told me that that's what they do. They clean sofas. They like to hide under beds and, you know. Also, what kind of sensual present Shinra is this? Who even has this animation in the game normally? Like this lying on the floor in a sideways position? It's kind of creepy actually. Well, also you paid this mate. It's weird to you to pay a stranger to clean up your filth. Well, some people are busy and don't have time to clean up their own filth, so they pay someone to do so. And some others just get off sexually on that, you know, and some others just like the convenience of it. There are really all kinds of reasons for why you want to have a mate. I mean, it doesn't seem weird to me either. You just pay someone for something. Um, I mean, if you have enough money, why not just spend it on things that make you happy? And if you don't want to clean up yourself, what's the problem? I mean, if you can afford a maid, then I don't see an issue with it. I mean, at least not. I mean, there might be some issues with it. Maybe it's like some sort of Ukrainian, uh, you know, human trafficking person who's like in some sort of slave sex labor ring that is also your mate. I mean, that might be problematic, but who knows if that's what mates usually are. I have no idea. So this, by the way, is what happens. He just stands there, ready to do whatever. I mean, that's... It is an ethical issue to have a mate or not. Can you enlarge on that? Because I feel that could be an interesting journey you could bring me on. So I just now realized that I haven't had the world map with colors on for a while now, and I'm beginning to realize I don't like that. I want some fancy colors. Oh yeah, this is nice. Look at this. It's quite almost like rosé. It's not quite pink. You wouldn't pay for a hooker, but if that's what someone else wants to spend their money on, that would be up to them. Yeah, I mean, that is a very laissez-faire attitude. I haven't got the added cut materia, which is a bit unfortunate because I think I would quite profit from that. Well, you could argue that maybe it's not actually consensual. I mean, what even really is consensual? Is anything really entirely consensual? I mean, there's always some sort of subconscious pressure, I guess. If someone was willing to wipe up your butt for money, I mean, I feel that not many people would be willing to have somebody do that to them for money. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just awkward and like possibly disgusting, but ethically there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, in many ways, you're just basically, I mean, people who work in nursery homes for like elderly people, they probably do that. and lots of people work in that field. So you're just trying to like disgust flags. I mean, only because you find certain things disgusting doesn't really mean anything. No. I mean, I can see why you're saying that. I'm not trying to strawman you. I'm sorry if that's what I did. I mean, even if you're not needing someone to wipe your butts, like, let's say it's not a nursery home argument. I mean, let's say that you just feel like it. I mean, if you just feel like it, then I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, oh, also in case you're not quite sure how many enemies there are currently 6 diamond weapons. Actually, it has the animation of Bahamut. I've already used it once just to test it, and the animation is much shorter, but it still is the same power, so it feels a bit cheap. Hey, Nabokore. A bit of it, I think. um, I think I'm dead. Well, it has a nice sound effect though. Because Barrett is not dealing any damage, I might want to exchange him for someone who might actually deal damage. Also, I think I need to look up something. 1 second. I'm currently using this tool called Wall Market to look up what some of the randomized modified weapons do. Like if they even deal HP or MP damage, what elements they have, so that I can find something that would be useful to use. So specifically Juffy's weapons. Interestingly enough, the Conformer still has the same damage formula. You know, it takes the enemy's level divided by 16 as a multiplier, but it deals MP damage, so that's completely useless. If I had the Rising Sun, it would have the same effect as Cloud's ultimate weapon. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the Rising Sun. The Magic Shuriken, interestingly, deals the same multiplier as Barrett's missing score. Like, the more AP on the weapon, the better. Now, unfortunately, if you have a look at Juffy's Super Bowl, it has... Wait, is that right? No, Magic Shuriken. It has 0 slots, and this is just ridiculous because it deals more AP and more damage the more AP on the weapon slots, but with 0 weapon slots, there's not really much AP you can accumulate, right? It's just the same as all of those triple AP weapons that have 0 slots. It's just perfectly pointless. I mean, this is almost like the game laughing at you. Anyway, so looking on... Now, interestingly, the Trin Wiper does the same. The Trin Wiper actually looks kind of good. Where's the Trin Wiper? What about the Razor Ring? Hey Yasmat, do we have 2026 now? What even is 2026? So you mean like the current year? Number of times I said this mod was spooky? What is the mob, by the way? What's the mob's stuff? So do I have a weapon or an armor rather that increases strength? The silver armlet. You can't equip that. Hey Onyx, what makes it super? I can post you a link. Wait, I could if I had the link. So what makes this super randomizer? Basically, I'm not sure if you were there last time I played through this, but I have already once previously played through just the randomizer, and now the main difference to that is that I also randomized field models, which is purely a visual thing, but a very entertaining one. And I'm about to fight Diamond Weapon, and hey Fakeman, how are you? And because I already died to it one time, I'm trying to set up some things to maybe not die again. I am good myself. Well, this is a spooky randomizer. In spooky randomizers, even if you're prepared, you can die. I think I'm gonna try this now. Build physical damage. Well, this is just like another Wednesday afternoon to the game. I mean, this sort of thing doesn't crash the game engine. Other things crash the game engine. Yeah, the Quadra Ultima bug also only applies if I have stuff like HP Absorb linked to it, which I do not. I think this might be percentage damage. So, this should work now, I think. It might look a bit silly now because I just basically, you know, when you kill Diamond Weapon, it has like some sort of attack it does, an invisible one, just a, you know, it basically tries to leave the battle. But whatever, I guess I'm gonna see.